So the second film that I watched today was Damien Chazelle's La La Land, and I'm gonna be very, very frank with this. When I saw the very first teaser trailer in like March or April or whenever the hell the teaser trailer launched, I could tell I was not gonna like this movie. Then the second trailer came out, and I was like, okay, well maybe they'll do something different with the trailer and they'll convince me that I'm gonna like this movie. And then the second trailer came out and I was like, oh shit, I know I'm not gonna like this movie. Now normally when I watch a trailer and I say, I'm not gonna like this movie, I just don't go see the movie. That's generally what I do. Um, but I decided to see this movie because it has such buzz and is probably going to be a frontrunner for Best Picture. And if I'm going to hate a movie, I better hate a movie because I saw the movie, not because I could tell I was going to hate it from the trailer. So I went and saw this movie, and it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. It's like kind of like The Artist all over again. I really didn't like The Artist either, and I'm a person who loves silent films, and I thought The Artist was terrible. And if it, I just there's a difference between like what am I even trying to say? There's like being inspired by, and there's like being a really bad cover band. And both of these films feel more like really bad cover bands than inspired by. And I find that frustrating. So there's a lot of references to old Hollywood in this film, and I found it too on the nose for me. I'm not I like when something shows up in a film and I'm like, I see what you did there, but it's done in such a way that you only really know it's there if you know it's there. Whereas this was just like, now I'm doing Singing in the Rain. Now I'm doing Umbrellas of Cherbourg, and it was just ugh. Okay. Two, I didn't like any of the characters. I wanted to punch them all in the face. I didn't feel that it was very romantic. I don't understand this idea that there's chemistry between Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone because I did not see the chemistry. Um, so there's that. It made the freaking Warner Brothers lot look way more interesting. As someone who worked on that lot for 3 years or near that lot for 3 years, I went on that lot almost every day for 3 years. It is never as interesting as they made it look. Which is the other thing, because I lived in LA for 3 years, I feel like this sort of idealized notion of Los Angeles as this overly romantic whatever thing that people have. I guess that's what he's trying to tap into there, and that's why he's calling it La La Land. But it's hard to romanticize a place that you know well, I guess. And so there were moments where, like for example, one of the moments is supposed to be really romantic, and it's in a montage of things that are supposed to be really romantic. They're going up the Angel's Flight, and all I could think was, um, the Angel's Flight has been shut down because it's dangerous. Like, how much money did they pay to get to use the Angel's Flight? People used to use that for commuting, and now they can't anymore. But they were able to like okay it for like one shot in a movie. Two, the whole making like having that as like a quirky dating moment when there's all this history of gentrification in Bunker Hill and how they just destroyed that entire neighborhood a couple of decades ago, just really pissed me off because there's such an interesting history in LA, but also a very racist and frankly gentrification history of Los Angeles, and much like any city, and to use parts of the city that represent that as a quirky dating thing just really rubbed me the wrong way. There's something else I was going to say. There's one scene that I thought was really well done, and it's this starts out as a romantic moment and ends up in a big fight. And I thought that scene was filmed well, and that scene felt like alive and real. And everything else in the film, like, okay, it's supposed to be a musical. There's fantasy sequences with dancing and singing and whatever, and that this works when there's a current of like real raw emotion flowing through films, which is why Cabaret works. It's why West Side Story works, and lots of old Hollywood that goes into places that are complete fantasy work because you still feel um, this realness to the characters, and I didn't feel that in any of these films. And if you don't feel the realness, at least in old Hollywood, you often have actors that you care about their persona, and so it works for you even if the film is just utterly preposterous. You've got this persona that helps carry it. And Stone and Gosling do not have that. They do not have that, and so you can't carry a movie with their personas. So that also did not work for me. Um, what else was I gonna say? I don't know. I just didn't like it. Oh, I know. Okay, this is a spoiler, and so like stop watching if you don't want to be spoiled for the end of the movie. Um, Big old giant spoiler coming through. So there's a moment at the end that is 100% supposed to be like this film's Umbrellas of Cherbourg ending, where they see each other after years, and there's this current of like sadness and of like what could have been. And they also like go through a sequence where you can't tell if it's him imagining what's would have been or her imagining, but it looked like it was her imagining what could have been. And in it, so in the actual ending of what you're supposed to believe, she has like a new husband played by Tom Everett Scott, who or a husband played by Tom Everett Scott, which was the one on the nose like callback to a movie, the movie being That Thing You Do, that worked for me. Um, and she's a child, right? And in this idealized like what could have been thing in her brain. Sorry, my cat is like rolling in paper. She has another kid with a different kid with Gosling, and that irritated me because she basically imagines away the child that she has, and I feel like no mother parent would ever do that. It just feels disingenuous to me to like as I mean I haven't had children, but it's sort of like my cat that's died. I would not imagine another world where I didn't have that cat or whatever. It's the same sort of thing. Like I don't know. I just feel like it didn't feel. She didn't feel like a real mother at that point, a real parent. If she's just going to completely imagine like what could have been and not factor in the fact that if that happened, this child wouldn't exist. But anyways, the child kind of felt like an afterthought anyways. Then so they have this sad like recognition moment and then they go off. Okay, in Umbrellas of Cherbourg, they're separated and she's forced into marriage because she's pregnant, and it was at a time where that was shameful, and she gets basically forced into another life because of social mores at the time. And that's why that ending is so bittersweet. And that's why when you look at that ending and you go, "Oh, society fucking tore them apart." In this movie, they tore each other apart and they fucked each other over, and they had decided in order to chase their own dreams they couldn't be together. They had because they were gonna like distract each other or something instead of, I don't know, supporting each other through their dreams. And then they get this bittersweet moment and you're supposed to think, "Oh, it's so sad, if only." And it's like, fuck you. You can't appropriate this moment from this movie that is beautiful and real and earned that ending and then expect us to have that same feeling for these characters that did not earn this ending. I don't fucking think so. This is me hitting a gavel on my chair. So anyways, I'm sorry if the cat sort of made some noises while you were doing that. She's playing with paper. So anyways, I did not care for this film. And if it ends up winning a bajillion awards, I will be, as I often am, drinking wine and shaking my fist at the awards season. So this was Damien Chazelle's La La Land, a film that was not made for me. Maybe you'll like it. I don't know. If you watched this and you hadn't watched the movie yet, I'm sorry that I spoiled it, but I warned you. Have a good night.